Hey guys, I'm really happy to share with you a really cool course for martial arts school owners that is a must-use for your school. It is the Complete Trial Conversion course by TJ Thomas, and you can find it at martialartsbusinessuniversity.com. TJ walks you through the entire process of converting a trial to a new student week by week and shows you exactly what to do in order to increase your conversion rates. Now, in just the week or so that this course has been active, I've seen numerous martial arts school owners post in the private Facebook group about how this course has already helped them to convert more trial members and also helped them to develop a systematic plan on how to convert and keep track of these members. And TJ gives you everything you need. This is pretty much a done-for-you course to increase your percentage of conversions from trials to new students. And guys, it's a no-brainer. For right now, it's only $47. It's going to be going up soon to $147, so you want to take advantage of this as soon as possible. You can go to mabusinessuniversity.com, and then also you want to check out a brand new product to help make trial conversion even easier by going to trialconverter.com. This is a game changer, and it's something that is going to bring a lot of value to any new trial member walking into your door. So check it out, guys, and thank you for our sponsor, trialconverter.com. In this episode of the Level Up Lounge, we are joined by Nick D, and he drops some powerful information to help you check yourself as an entrepreneur and get you on the path to being more successful as an individual and as a business owner. Also, we stir the pot a little bit as we play a game called What Do You Think About This Person in the Martial Arts Industry?
You're listening to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
Level up. Level up.
Level up. Level up.
Level up. Level up.
You're listening to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
All right, guys, I'm really excited for this episode of the Level Up Lounge. We are joined by my business mentor and coach, Nick Dougherty from Team Parrella. Nick has been crucial to help me to develop and grow my business. And he's not only done that with me, but he's done that with thousands of martial arts schools all over the world and really helped them to take their business to the next level. And he does it in an awesome way that is very no nonsense, no BS. He just tells it how it is and doesn't sugarcoat it, and I'm sure you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. Then right afterwards, we'll go into our Punch in the Face segment.
In the face.
Where I share a really important element for anyone that's a business owner to help to get the best out of their staff and start helping their staff to become better in a very constructive way. And I'm really excited to share that with you as well. Right now, let's jump into the interview with Nick D. I know I'm super stoked for this person to be on the show. He's my business mentor. He has helped me to grow my business exponentially. He's helped me to grow my relationships and really helped almost every aspect of my life. And I know that he's helped hundreds of other martial arts schools to do the exact same thing. So I am really excited to have Nick D joining the show. Nick, how are you doing today, man?
Great introduction. I appreciate that. So thank you, Adam, for having me again. I wasn't sure if you ever wanted to have me back again after what I said the last time. I'm just kidding.
So literally, the very first podcast you did with me, immediately afterwards, I received tons of Facebook messages and even had people coming up to me at different events saying how that was one of their favorite interviews that they've heard on a podcast. And I think it's because you challenge a lot of the thinking that goes on in a normal martial arts business.
Yeah, I mean, things are moving really fast. And I think that a lot of us, we have to be really careful with the information that you're actually following. It's crucial. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are learning and teaching you the next day to something they haven't even implemented yet. So it's very easy for, and I'm sure we'll touch on this a little bit. It's very easy for anyone to offer advice, position themselves, or make themselves look like they can help people, but in reality, they're unable to help anyone.
I totally agree with that. And one of the things that I love is that I've had the experience to watch your journey for the last few years, and it's been amazing to see you consistently grow. And it's like you are on a mission to consistently better yourself and better the other people. It's like you're on a mission to consistently better yourself and grow. And the effect that that's had on the people around you has been awesome. And it's something that I've really enjoyed being a part of, and just being able to see you consistently strive for greatness and get there over and over again. And I think that's something that we don't see with a lot of coaches, and it's sort of unique to you. And there are some good coaches out there, but I just love that you lead by example. And sort of sticking with the topic of coaching, I saw a really interesting stat today. It said 88% of coaches, and this isn't just strictly martial arts coaches, but business coaches in general, 88% of coaches make less than $10,000 a month, which is pretty crazy. 76% of coaches make less than $5,000 per month. I found that very interesting, and I wanted to know what's your take on that.
Well, I think that the interesting thing for me and Michael, just a comparison. Like Michael started out of kickboxing. I had a larger school. Then I worked for Champions Way. Wasn't even doing coaching, and Michael didn't even want to do coaching either. Like it was not something that wasn't like we sat and decided that, hey, we're going to start a mastermind.
Sure.
And I think that's the thing you're seeing now, is that a lot of like people with Russell Brunson like writing a book or 2 books and teaching people how they could do coaching, and it even says it in the book, like you really don't need any type of results or anything that you've done for people. It's like he even says it. So people that are reading that or and here thinking that they could make the money. I thought it was just a great book, Expert Secrets. For people that actually like, for what he did was masterful. It was basically the convincing, no matter who you were, that you could be a coach. So I think we have to credit Russell on that a lot, because he has you see people all the time. Like, here's the thing: how many funnels do you see on Facebook for something that will help you get clients or members or money? It's like that's all you see.
All you see.
Yeah. So when you mention that, like what is going on with coaching, well, that's exactly what's going on with coaching. You have school owners that are so bad at running their schools, and it's actually easier for them to position and act like they could help other school owners. It's like, because most of the industry is struggling, like 70, probably 60, 80% of the school owners are barely making money. So then what happens is, all these school owners, that's what they do, helping people, like, and trying to help schools, and it just gets more and more. Everyone starts getting ClickFunnels and thinking they're going to be a high ticket funnel, and it just waters down the entire industry. But the thing is, Adam, is like, I'm not worried about it at all, because the speed and also the projects that we're involved in outside of the martial arts industry, I really believe that me and Michael, like, our goal is we're not going to allow like the frauds to continue to like rip people off.
That's awesome.
Because that's where we're going. Like, we Damon John's our partner. We have other projects. We have other projects outside of the martial arts, and we're working on a franchise with Marvel. That's that I'm sure people will hear about that soon.
Man, when you told me about that, I got so excited.
It's crazy, right? But Adam, my thing is this: is like the things that we're doing outside of the martial arts, like with our love for martial arts and the people that we're friends with, so many great people that I'm really good friends with. Like, that's the thing. Like, we're going to be the guys in the next couple of years where it's like, listen, like, we don't care, guys. Like, we don't need to do this. We're going to do it, and hopefully people will come to us because they realize that we have the best interest at heart. We're not giving them methods and systems and processes that are 20 and 30 years old. I mean, like, everyone's operations manual, it's a joke. I mean, all these operations, like, we're bringing the heat again at Mavs. We're bringing Cameron Harrell. This guy is the best. He's the best operations manager in the business. 1-800-GOT-JUNK. He took it from $6 to $180 million. That's like, those are the people you want to follow, not some guy that has a martial arts school that, it's closed down or whatever happened to it, or he says he sold it, whatever. I mean, these are the people that you have to be careful of. So, sorry, my dogs are barking here.
No worries.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, that's why what we plan on doing is, Michael doesn't need to do like a mastermind. I told this to our mastermind clients. That's not like, we started working together, and obviously I love kickboxing, and other projects that he's working on have gotten so big, and he does it honestly because he's my friend and he enjoys the martial arts. He doesn't do it for the money. No, I do. Like, this is what I need to do. It's my bread and butter right now. So, but I'm saying with the things we have positioned and where we're going, like, we just want to be in the next couple of years, the people that are there just to give people the real truth and not allow these people that care so much about growing their school getting access to horrible information. Like, I see systems. People are talking about systems, and it's like I posted something about systems. And the thing is, what I'm working on right now for Parrella and all of our clients is to explain to everyone these systems are completely, not the majority, not all of them. I'm sure there's some anomalies and some schools that have a good system, but the majority of them, that the people that are trying to tell you how to do them, they're just giving you old stuff that doesn't even work. There's a totally new way of doing things, in all these processes that we talk about. So that's sorry, I get upset too, Adam. When I talked to you before we even started doing coaching, that was one of my points. I was always like, man, it's frustrating to see people that are giving marketing advice, or especially marketing, trying to position themselves as social media experts or a children's curriculum expert.
So I don't know if I told you this or not, but there's someone in the industry that creates landing pages for martial arts schools, and they invited me to their group, and I was checking out the landing pages, and as I'm looking at it, I realized there's no opt-in on the landing page. So there's no spot for the lead to give you their information or to get information from you. When I asked about it, they said that the whole landing page was created to get them to call your school. That is so outdated. It is ridiculous. And the second story I'll tell you about is there's someone in the industry that's a sales consultant for martial arts schools. They sort of came up out of nowhere, which is red flag number one. But they had started posting their material in my group, which I wasn't cool with since I had no idea who they were. So he contacted me and asked to talk over the phone. So talking over the phone, I asked about his experience, and I found out that his only experience is working as a program director for 2 years at a martial arts school that failed and went out of business. And I'm trying to understand what qualified him to be coaching other martial arts schools. I just really couldn't believe it.
Listen, Adam, it goes back to what we were originally talking about. Russell Brunson did an amazing job. To sell his software and it's like this. I think he's a brilliant marketer. He's not, what he did. But the thing is, the reason why all these people are popping up is because he's now giving them the hope or the dream that they can make a couple $1,000s a month. The thing that's happening though is that it's sad. The people that they're helping or that are paying them, those people never make any money, and they actually go backwards. And then that consultant will just be oh my God, I made $2,000 this month extra, and they're happy about it. So I think this is a great topic because I think we need to call out these people. You mentioned people that are selling ClickFunnels or landing page affiliates, whatever you want to, or ClickFunnels affiliates or links, whatever. I've seen them too. Some of the clients and people have reached out to me, and I just it's really sad. You're seeing stuff that's it's basically garbage, and they're just promoting it and giving it to people, and listen, most of the time when they're giving it away for free, it's horrible. Because any type of decent copywriter, Adam, or marketer, or even a programmer, developer, see, that's the thing that you can't get around. Is the thing that I'll explain to everybody. The reason why capital and growth and focusing on growth is so important, and investing back into your company, is for that reason. These people that we're talking about, or any consultants or coaches that you see that are putting out horrible materials. What happens eventually is unfortunately they'll hurt a bunch of people first. But when I mentioned the developer, a coder, someone that's a graphic designer, having someone that's writing the sales copy, all that stuff, everything has a cost. So companies that can afford those costs produce better quality. But now Russell has made something that anyone could throw something up really easily and quick, and some people unfortunately don't know the difference between good and bad. And then the problem is you see it spreading like a virus. Everyone's a coach, everyone's a consultant, everyone is a marketing advisor or a social media master or whatever. It's so that's what's going on right now.
And back to your point, I saw someone on Facebook posted a picture of themselves reading Russell Brunson's book, .com Secrets. And then within a few weeks later, he was selling a service that made landing pages for martial arts schools. And I'm like, you just started reading a book about how to do this 3 weeks prior, and now you're selling this service to other people. That's ridiculous, right?
So this call is really good for Russell Brunson because we're talking about him a lot. You know?
Yeah, I'll have to tag him in it when we advertise.
So credit to Russell for making something so good, like a book that someone in a month could start offering services, you know, like by having no knowledge or, you know, barely any knowledge. So like that's the thing, and that's the thing that it's tough for the consumers that are looking for the help. Yeah. They're surrounded by a lot of things, but the thing is, like, the reason why it doesn't affect us is because of the testimonials and results that we get for people. So we're never like a lot of smaller companies or other consulting companies that are trying to, you know, grow, whatever. It's a lot harder for them because you're surrounded by so many people posing. And then, so for us, though, it's like, you know, social proof, and this is important for anyone listening to this call. It's the most important element of anything, you know, for your persuasion, to get people to use your products, is social proof. So, I mean, like, you know, if for us, like, I don't really need to sell anybody. Like, you know, how do we do millions of dollars a year and we don't even have a salesperson? Well, it's from the results, you know, and so like that's why I don't care, and I just feel bad for people that have to go through 2 or 3 people and make no money first, and then, you know, reach out to us, because that's the common pattern. Yeah. I tried Stephen Oliver, I tried Brandon Beliso, I tried, you know, it's like, let's call it a spade a spade. These are the people that they're mentioning. You know, sure. Guys like that, you know, whatever, they claim that they could do this or do that, whatever. It's like, I'm sure there's things you could learn from those guys, you know, but that's why you got to be careful. Like, I don't talk about, you know, I'm going to help you with X, Y, and Z. I say, I'm going to help you get better. You know what I mean? Like, I say that all the time. It's like, I help them personally get better. And we have other people in our team that help with, like Kelly for staff training. You know, Ryan does a lot of operations. You know, Aiden does SEO. But I work on the personal side of the entrepreneur, that's why our team is a little bit different. So, but when you have people that are helping just with everything, and they're not even good at anything, you know, I believe like having a consulting team like us, or just at least what we're doing, consultants or team members with a narrow-minded focus, it's a lot more effective than just like, you know, acting like you know everything. You know, so that's why our team's a lot different. But yeah, I mean, you'll see more and more of that. I mean, more and more people are going to offer landing pages, and, you know, it's like I said, like, you know, so think what happens. It fizzles out. They launch it for a week or 2. They get 4 clients. They, you know, sign up 2. You know, so they make $800 or something, you know, or $2,000, and, you know, for them it's sad. It's really good. Like it's really that's like a big thing for them. You know.
Yeah, it goes back to that stat that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so another thing too you mentioned, it's like, you know, what people are making. I think that you're saying like, well, most coaches are like, what I mean, the sad truth of what you should be looking at is like people that like how much they're investing. That's the sign of someone that's successful, not like someone that's like, you know, like someone that like what are they investing in? Are they investing millions of dollars? Are they investing like hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like that shows you who's like serious and who's Mickey Mouse. Like, because if you're not investing, you're Mickey Mouse. Like, and a lot of people aren't there yet. But I mean, myself and Michael, or myself, you know, it's like that is all we're focused on, is investing back into our other companies, back in other businesses, other opportunities, like, you know, and trying to really grow instead of like just how much we make. Like that, I think that's the real secret in the future, is looking at what you're investing into growth rather than what your company's profiting.
That's awesome. And I think one thing that sort of hit me in one of your videos that I was watching is you asked everyone if they were living a lie. And basically you're asking them if, hey, is your business plateauing and you're thinking that you're crushing it right now? And really you're just doing the same, and there's no progress, there's no improvement. And you think just because you're taking home a decent salary that you're hot shit with what you're doing, even though your business is still at the same level that it was 2 years ago. Can I get sort of your take on that, and maybe get you just to go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit?
It's so tough too, because, you know, like the reason I like love these guys, like I do, like I know how much value they bring to a community, like a great martial arts instructor. You know, like they are. You know, I look at them as like a teacher. Like they're so valuable, and they probably, you know, most of them, you know, they think it's tough. They could be a great martial artist or a great teacher, and they're not making any money. And it's like that's why, like, I don't like. It's like, you know, I said, like when I mentioned about like the living a lie. It's like, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying what I'm about to tell people or what I'm about to say isn't meant to hurt anyone's feelings. Sure. It's to get them to wake up, you know, and to realize that something needs to change, because I don't want to see them to keep struggling. Like, there's nothing worse that, you know, for someone like me, that where I came up and for the martial arts and everything, and like, the lifestyle that I live now. Like I don't want to see people that were in the same situation as me, like barely living. Like it breaks my heart hearing people about, they don't have the money to pay this, or they can't, go out to dinner. Like it's like, it's horrible. And I felt really bad. So I don't want to offend anybody, but here's what I've been saying about this, living a lie. So living the lie is that the reason why when people get stuck, so they're stuck, this would be for someone 2 years, a year, like making the same amount of money, 2, 3 years, not growing, like they're in the same position. And when I talk about living the lie, it's that they're not admitting that what they're doing is not really working. Like it's like barely, keeping them afloat. So it's not working, and they just continually lie to themselves every day, and they don't fix the hard problems. Because here's the thing, I'll give you one of the prime examples. And I've been, your school's not growing because like the head instructor and the owner don't even like each other. Like it's like they don't, but they continue to work together. And I've been in that situation. I've had a head instructor that worked for me, and it's now we no longer work together, and we are very good friends. But working together, like me and him, did not work. And it's like, and the thing about it, it's like the instructor is too scared to open his own school, and the owner is basically just like every day having to walk on pins and needles about hurting the person's feelings or making them offended, because if that person leaves, then it's going to make you do more work. That's what happens. So the thing is, like that's one lie. They just don't want to come clean and say, hey, listen, we obviously don't see eye to eye, and we're not getting anywhere. So that's one reason. There's several other reasons. I mean, another reason when people are living lie is, when they're not making the kind of money that they need to be making in order to live the lifestyle that they're fronting on Facebook.
Yes.
So it's like you see a lot of people, like they're traveling, they're going to seminars, conventions, I'm at this restaurant, I'm there, whatever. And again, another thing that's tough is, some of these people, I see them, and then next thing you know, they're calling me and they can't pay. They have no money. We're months behind. I haven't given myself a salary in 6 months. Nick, I can't do the cancellation because I have no money. Okay, so, and it's like, and that's the thing, like, so, at least in that situation, like, when someone is in that situation, I don't care. I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, if you don't have the money, then it's all good. Like, we let people out of contracts, agreements, even when they can do the 30-day cancellation, it's like, whatever. Like, I just let them go. Yeah. I don't have to let them go. I just don't want to, like, I feel bad. And it's like, so when I talk about living this lie, that's the lie. Like, you don't have the money because you're being irresponsible. Like, you should be in your school every day, like looking at every student and getting on your knees every time they come in and making sure you're getting the results, instead of traveling all over the world and going to like all over the place. And like, you just shouldn't do it. Or don't bring or one person from your team go. Like, don't bring your husband and wife. Like, the business has to keep going.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's it. The business doesn't stop. You know what I mean? So if you, and don't act like you could, if you can't afford it, you have the pride and say, I can't afford to do this, or tell your husband or wife, like, only one of us should go, like, because we're not where we need to be. So it's a fine line, but I never had those problems in decision making, like, where it's like, if I didn't have the money, I wouldn't just like, yeah, I'm just going to go here and hopefully I go to this Tony Robbins seminar, my life changes. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you need to change your life, and I got news for you, like, you're not reading the right books.
Yeah.
Like you're not.
Or any books.
Like, or any books, it's true. So like, stop spending the money like going all over when you're broke. You know what I mean? And like, take a look at your business and stop living the lie. Just stop lying to yourself. Like, my business sucks. And it's like the books, the courses, the seminars. Like, it's like you need to just like at first like look at your clients and like actually get your shit together. You know what I mean? Like personal help. Like, you can get these books online for free. You know what I mean? Like, so those are some of the lies, and other ones are just when people like need the help. But it's like, I had a guy. I basically invented the onboarding process with Facebook. Like, I did those pin posts like 4 years ago. I gave it out to everyone in Memphis 3 years ago, whatever. I have a guy on the phone, like, this was like 6 months ago, and it was interesting. We were talking about the onboarding process, and he was like I was telling him what to do, and because of his ego, because he used to be some type of, high-level executive or something like that, he had a hard time listening to me. And I had to explain him over and over again. And then finally, when he was disagreeing with me and telling me that, no, well, that's not consistent with this or this, I said, yeah, I'm not sure what you're even referencing. I said, all I'm trying to explain to you is I'm the one that invented this. Like, this thing we're talking about in our group, like, this is my creation. I was the one that taught everyone, like, how to do it. So now you're telling me that I'm wrong. So I don't even know what to say to you. Like, I'm like, so I don't know what, so it was like, that's another type of situation where you have someone like that's just like, shut the up and listen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've listened to Michael for thousands of hours. I probably have 20 years of training in the couple of years I'm working with him, because when he's talking, it's like, I'm not on my phone. I'm not like texting someone. I'm not worried about when he's done talking to tell him what I think. Well, my opinion, who cares about your opinion? It's so like that alone right there. It's like, shut the up and know how to listen to someone. And it's like, it's like that's it. Like, if I had someone that's like, listen, I don't really have time to work with you, but I'll jump on the phone with you or whatever. It's like, and they can help you and actually know more than you. Then you got to shut up and just you got to listen and take some direction.
Do you find that sometimes part of living the lie goes back to people not knowing their numbers, or maybe not even paying attention to their numbers because they know they're...
Well, that's one of the best questions I've heard. And like, when we talk about like someone not knowing their numbers, like, like you should be looking at your numbers every day.
Yeah.
Like, if you are a business owner, like, whatever, martial arts school, whatever, like we have certain metrics we look at every single day, not like every month, every single day. The metrics we look for our company and for the martial arts schools, the I Love Kickboxing franchise. Like, Michael has metrics he gets every single day. So like, there's not a day that goes by where people's not messaging me or talking about our metrics. So when people don't know their numbers, like you really, then you're not even a business. You're just like a club. Like, it's like, and the thing is, here's the thing. Well, yeah, we've been doing great for so long. We don't worry about numbers. Yeah, that worked for a long period of time, but everything's about to change again. And business owners and people are getting more help. More franchises are opening where everything's done for them, and people are looking at their metrics. And like, so that's the thing. Even if the owner doesn't know what the hell they're looking at, there's some guy like a Michael Parrella looking at the metrics, and then he's telling 50 guys on a computer, "Go get this person trials now." Like, yeah. That's how it's working. So when people would say to me, like, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about," no, you don't know what the you're talking about. Because I'm telling you, you don't know what's about to happen and how businesses and companies are getting better. And that is the reality. That franchise example I gave you, but we never looked at our numbers. We never cared about that. That's great. But as more franchises will open, that will look nicer and better and provide more marketing and better marketing, there's also going to be someone else looking at metrics every single day. So that way the people, when they have this, oh, I had a bad month. You should be thinking you had a bad day. Like, that's the way you should be thinking. Not I had a bad month. Like, a bad month, that's like, think about it, you have 11 months left. Like, that's barely, it's not a lot. So that's what I would say, brother.
I think that one stat I see missing a lot is a school's plus minus. I still see many people too focused on number of students instead of whether they're growing or not. And you can have 300 students at your school, but just be breaking even, right?
Yep, you can.
So I wanted to go back on something that we focused at the beginning of the podcast, which is coaching. And you've been my business mentor since I started Level Up. I don't know if I told you this story before, but I remember the first day that I talked to you to inquire about coaching, I had $200 in my account, and you had let me know that coaching would be $199 a month. And I was like, shit. So anyway, of course, I dived in head first and just went for it. And at the end of the day, I had $1 in my business account and was sort of putting all of my marbles in one basket. And it was the best decision I've ever made for my business and probably my personal life as well, because you've really helped me to experience a lot of growth and get me focused on the right things and help me to filter all the BS out, so I can sort of have that clarity in my vision for what I need to do, and it's helped me a lot. I think one of the things that you've done such a great job with is you've helped me to get my personal systems in alignment. And how important is it for business owners to have their personal systems down before they work on their business systems, or is it something that they can focus on at the same time?
To me, there's a couple parts to this question. So the first thing is, when we're talking about that alignment between your significant other, your work, and then your personal life, which would be working out, eating correctly, stuff like that. reading, development. I believe that, you have a better percentage of doing better if that is in line with what you're doing with work. Because just think about this, if your personal systems are a disaster, and I know several friends of mine that went through divorces or whatever, and their business suffered at the same time too. Now I know other people that went through a divorce, and honestly, they think about it, it's kind of like where you are mentally. Like some people couldn't wait for the divorce to get over. All they cared about was work, and they did okay. So I don't think you'd say everyone, but I believe that when I talk to an owner, I try to explain to them, listen, we want to have this alignment. Everything seems to be getting better, and also, I think when you're doing that, it gives them a little bit of a victory. Sometimes when they just read a book, or they realize that they do an assignment like inventory management of their self-assessment or something like that. So I would say that I believe it's a big role, but I think that I do know other people as well that don't care at all about reading or any personal development, and they've had problems in their relationships or with their wives or whatever, and they've still done well. I just think that having it will give you a better advantage.
And I know you did the Get Your Together in 30 Days course, which I absolutely loved. It helped me in so many different areas. It strengthened my business, strengthened my relationship with my wife, made such a huge impact on me, and so much that I'm sending my employee to take it this time. And you do have another session of this coming up, right?
We're just doing the same one. We're just doing another one, Get Your Together. That's starting, I think, October 1st or something, 2nd.
Excellent. And I've talked about this course on my podcast before. Where should people go to get more information on this?
Now, send me a private message on Facebook and follow me on Facebook. I think I'm over the friend limit, so you might have to follow me. Just click the follow button. Shoot me a private message, and I'll get it, and just say, you're interested in the Get Together course. It's really, the coolest part about this course is, it's for anyone. It's not for martial artists. I made this course because, honestly, of my passion for just when I saw so many people struggling with their personal life. They were just a mess, And then also, I think, Adam, you mentioned this too, I went through my own, personal transformation over the past couple of years, which that's the thing I think we also have to, you saw the progression, we talk about, me and you talked about this before, I'm talking, you see people posting on Facebook about, I went from living in a hotel to living in this house or whatever, I was literally I actually loved it. My journey of to get where I'm at now, and I'm still going way more to go, it was great. I was staying in motels 3 days a week, and I was sacrificing. When you hear me talk about people that shouldn't be going all over the world and spending money on things that aren't really going to help them get where they want to go. I was sacrificing then. I could have stayed in an upscale hotel or got rented an apartment or whatever, but I was just trying to be financially responsible, and that's what I would recommend to other people too. I didn't, same thing. I could buy a house now in New York, but I want to wait 2 more years and buy a house that I'll retire in. So I'm just being financially disciplined and waiting till I have, what I believe is the better way of living, instead of just trying to spread myself too thin. So that's it. I watched Michael do it himself. I remember when Michael was living in his old house, he was making $1.5 million a year, and he was living in a house that, everyone else in there was probably making $150,000 to $200,000. And I watched him stay in it for an additional year just so he had enough money before he bought his, $3 million house. Just be responsible, man. The money, I know people think that money's everything, but to me, even when I didn't have money, or, if you don't have money or someone doesn't have money that's on the call, my wife, when we and her first met, we were going out, there were times on the weekends we couldn't even go out. We had no money. We had no money. And, we had great times. We would go out and just go to the park and, walk around nature, go hiking. There's so much more than just buying things or going to a restaurant or trying to go to fancy places. And I know you guys see me do a lot of that stuff, but the thing is, it was years in the making. Going to Beverly Hills and traveling and going on vacations. We enjoy ourselves, but I do sacrifice other stuff. I'm living in a townhouse right now. I own my house in New Jersey, and eventually I want to buy a house in New York. But right now I'm renting a townhouse, and I'm just trying to be financially smart and be patient, that's a whole other call to do, all about patience. That is literally, I could talk about that so much, because it's probably one of the things that is so important that everybody just rushes and, just always wants it now, fast, whatever. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. Like the people I know that are the most patient are some of the most successful people. The people that I know that rush, they are just usually the most erratic people.
Do we have to wait? Can't we just do that call now? That was a joke. Question for you, and I think this might be a good learning spot for the listeners. What would you say is one of the biggest business mistakes you've made in your life?
Biggest mistakes. Okay, let me think here.
It's a deep question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Because the reason why that's a tough question is because even the mistakes that I made, the way that, what I've done, I've gone back at my mistakes and looked at them, and, I've learned from them. So, and it took me sometimes some mistakes I made years ago, and it wasn't until like the past 2 years when I started going back and looking at my mistakes and thinking that, well, back then I thought they were just ups or whatever, and I was like, well, how stupid was I? But what I've learned is that, that is one of the best ways to become more successful is when you've had 43 years like me. I'm 43 years old now. I was able to go back to things that I did when I was 23, 24, 25, 27, 30, 41, 32. So I think that's why it's a little bit harder, because I look at those like for example, like I worked with some people in my family, and I would say that that's a mistake, but when I looked back on it, it wasn't a mistake working with family. I know a lot of people would disagree and say that it is, but I believe that, just like any relationship, if there were other things that I could have been better at, I can't worry about them or what they could have done better.
Sure.
I believe that the relationship would have not have gone the way that it did. So I blame myself in every situation on what I could have done better. But so when you talk about mistakes, I think it's the complete opposite. For me, Adam, it's like the reason why I am where I am, there's 3 reasons. So there was 3 critical moments, and I'm not talking about where I'm at, or I'm not trying to act like I'm a billionaire or something like that. But it's like this. It's like there was a couple critical crossroads I was at that I made the toughest decisions that most people wouldn't have made. And I think that's why I'm in a very good position now. So the 3 of them were this. When I left Amerikick, that was like my number 1. That was no doubt, When I left Champions Way, that was probably number 2. And then realizing the problems with me, like that I was the problem, and stop blaming other people, that was the 3rd biggest, most impactful thing that changed my life. So leaving Amerikick, I was involved. I was a franchisor with them. I owned a percentage of the company. I invested and I bought into it. And I think they're great people, nice people. But I didn't have the same vision, and I just wanted out. And the thing with me is, and this might lead people to a certain insight. So when I realized I wanted out, I just knew I had to get out. So I didn't care what it would cost me or what it would be. I just knew that it would never work well with them. It just wouldn't end good. It wouldn't be good, and I didn't want to do that. I was young enough. So it cost me about $150,000 at the time. I was like 28, and I got, or maybe I was 30. But it was about $150,000 to get out of working with them, and that was there was non-compete and there was other legal stuff, whatever. But that's what I paid to get out of working with them. And then leaving Champions Way, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be coaching. I would have never done any of these courses. Me and Michael would never have partnered, so that probably would have affected a lot of people because of the good things we've been able to do together. And then just at 40, that was maybe 39. That's when I might have went through that pre-midlife crisis. That's when I realized that I'm not going where I want to be. There's not even I wanted to be retired by 40, and it wasn't even close. I could have sold my properties and I had whatever, maybe $1 million, but to retire, I think you need 15, 20 million in the bank, cash, liquid. So I was disappointed that I didn't hit my goals, and as I reflected, I looked back, and that's when I started going into reading and analyzing myself. That's what I do. And the more I started reading, the more I started just exercising my mind, the better I started feeling better. I started working out. So that whole alignment of my personal self and my wife, that was, you talked, Adam, that was the 3rd thing I would say is the most important.
And touching what you said on personal responsibility, I think that's something that, as my coach, you've done a great job instilling in me is being able to take pride for the good things, but also taking personal responsibility when shit hits the fan. And I think you have to, as a leader and a business owner, be able to take that responsibility when your business isn't performing like it should be. And that all comes back to being on you. And I think once, as an entrepreneur, you're able to notice that and take the responsibility and put it all on yourself instead of blaming your staff or the economy or whatever it is, then you're ready to start making changes and improvements.
So just help me understand the question, because I was long thing there. What exactly?
No, I wasn't asking. I was just sort of agreeing with your point.
Okay, so I was just making sure.
Yeah,
all right, that's awesome.
All right, so we usually do some quick fire questions to finish up with, and
11.
6.
I'm just kidding.
Man, you're killing it so far, because the first question I was going to ask you is how many millions of dollars you would like to contribute to Level Up, and 6 is a perfect answer.
You got it.
So you probably read more books than anybody else I've ever met in my entire life, and in fact, at home on my bookshelf, I have like a whole stack of the Nick D book club, the books of the month that I have in my reading queue. But what's the one book right now that you would say people need to jump on and start reading?
The operations of the martial arts schools are garbage. You know, and when I say garbage, it's like the stuff that I was given and the stuff that like we don't even really do anything for operations. We haven't really made any documents at all. And I have Cameron Harold, who's going to be making a course with me for Team Parrella.
That's awesome.
Here's the thing. Yeah, so that'll be like one of the best courses of all, I believe, of all time. And remember, this is the guy who took 1-800 got drunk from 6 to 180 million. Do you want him making your operations manual, or a guy who's 55 still living in or working in a martial arts school?
That's awesome.
That's what you have to ask yourself. So the book would be, for everyone on this call, Double by Cameron Harold.
Awesome. I'll be putting that in my Amazon shopping cart shortly.
It's probably one of the top 10 books on my list.
And you have a pretty extensive list, so that's saying something. What is your typical daily routine like?
That's an interesting question, because it's changed drastically. So I used to be like getting up early, working out, going to the gym, reading and stuff like that. So now it's different. Now what I do is I wake up usually around 6:30, sometimes 7, to be honest with you. I just wake up when I get up. I don't have an alarm clock or anything. And I read for an hour as soon as I wake up. So if I've done by 7 to 8, 8 to 9, whatever, then I go to Michael's house. Then we work out, talk, have a pre-workout, usually about 3 hours. So the workout, the pre-workout, the breakfast after that his maid makes for us, that's about a 3-hour process. Then what I do is I go home, take a shower, get to the office usually like 1 o'clock, and then hang out at the office till usually like 4 or 5, and then come home.
And just for the people listening, that wasn't always your schedule, right?
I changed. So one of the things that I can give everyone another book too. One of the books that I'd highly recommend, and something that changed, and I've been working on a lot, and I'll tell you how I applied it as well. Like everyone talks about getting out of your comfort zone. Like I think everyone's posted that little image on Facebook with the circle and the comfort zone and the arrow. You know what I mean? Like everyone's talked about it, but no one's really doing it. So what I mean by that is like one thing I've really been trying to do is when I say getting out of your comfort zone, anything that's new or different or anything I ordinarily do not want to do, like go to someone's house. Like this is horrible to say, but a lot of times I get invited somewhere and I'm like, I have no desire to go. Like I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that. You know, I don't want to go there. Like I've actually started doing that and like putting myself in situations on purpose to be uncomfortable. And then the other thing too is Jesse Itzler's the book Living with a SEAL. He's the one that inspired me with the workouts and doing something really extraordinary at the gym instead of doing the same 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 10. I usually before I go to Michael's house, I do 100 pull-ups at my gym. Then I go to Michael's house. So anyway, getting back to finish with what we're talking about, this whole getting out of your comfort zone. In practicing getting out of my comfort zone, like going from having my own routine where I worked out in the morning at 6 o'clock, read, went to the gym, whatever, then went into the office. Michael was telling me that I don't need to go to the office. He's like, you're a boss. Like you don't need to. Like it's me and you. Like we don't need to be there all day long. Like, and I was uncomfortable with that in the beginning because I was so used to the habit of always going in. And I'm more calm. I'm more relaxed. It's like it is the best thing I've ever done. And I think that the only thing is like that's 20 years of busting my ass. Yes. I think that a lot of school owners, it's maybe 25 years. I just hope that everything works out for them, because a lot of them, I'm friends with them and I really like them. But I think that getting out of your school too early, like where you have everyone doing everything for you and you're like at a Starbucks working, I think that could be a potential recipe for disaster.
I am so glad you brought up that point. I was going to ask you about that, but you beat me to it. That's awesome. What is the #1 app on your phone that you cannot live without?
God. I would say, honestly, I probably could live with all of them. Live without all of them. I don't even want them.
That is such a great answer.
You know? I look at, honestly, I think that, when it comes to business, I look at all the technologies as complements that I have to use. You know what I mean? But when it comes to all the social media and everything, like, I'll be the first one to tell you, like, when I don't need them for business, I will never be on them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I look at it as I hope that there's an ends to a mean of having to post and talk, do all this stuff. Like, only because, like, honestly, like I really prefer being face to face with people. Like, or at least doing like a Skype call, or looking at someone. Like, it's like I don't want to be texting people like all the time. So, yeah, I really would be happy with none of the apps.
All right, last question. I'm going to say someone's name in the martial arts industry, and you're going to tell me exactly what you think of. I'm joking. I'm joking. We're not going to do that.
Do it?
Yeah. Do it. Yeah.
All right. I didn't even prepare any names, but I'll just go off the top of my head. First one, Steve Oliver.
Just like really like distracted or something. Like when I talk to him, I feel like he's like looking like just not at me, like all over the place.
All right.
I'm not going to attack anybody. I'm just going to about people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to throw you some lobs too. Mike Parrella.
Mike Parrella is the most generous person I've ever met in my life.
Awesome.
Yeah, he is like that. That's what I would tell people when people ask me about Michael Parrella. I'd say I have never dealt with or met or been involved with anyone that is more generous than him. And it's great knowing that my best friend, if I ever needed anything, like that is the one guy besides my wife that I know I could depend on.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've been fortunate enough to sit with him a few times and pick his brain on things, and man, he's got a mind that thinks like nobody else. All right, let's go, Melody Shuman.
Oh God, I would say that she has to just calm down with overcomplication. Yeah, like I work with a lot of like people that use her program or whatever. Yeah. The skills or the drills program, and a lot of times they'll ask me questions, and I've had to refer back to her because I'm like I have no idea what you're talking about. Like and if you're using someone's, they're like, well, it's in the Melody Skills program or the drills or whatever, and I just tell them all the time, I'm like, I don't even understand what you mean. Like the way that the structure is for certain things with instructors. So to me, just like there's a lot of people who are overthinkers. I think like overcomplicated.
All right, Johnny Tention.
Oh my God, badass motherfucker.
I would
like straight up, like I feel like he probably is, like can help. I think that he really cares about people. He's an amazing martial artist, and he's just real. Just like I love Johnny Tention.
Me too. Dave Kovar.
Great guy. I hung out with him at the airport about 3 years ago. We were stuck in like Vancouver or something. And I spent like 3 hours because we had like over whatever it's called. And just I would say like nicest, greatest like person to follow to run a great floor.
I 100% agree. All right, Roland Osborne.
I had some great times with Roland. The one of the best times I had with him was actually at a Champions Way event, and I've watched him teach in Vancouver a couple times. I would say when I think of Roland, I think of inspiration. He did like this speech at this Champions Way event, like it was like my event. It was like me and Greg Silva at the time. Shows you how long ago that was, right? And it was crazy because like Roland was like a vendor, and he like got on top of a chair and like pumped up the whole entire audience. Because like I don't like that either. I don't like to get up. Believe me, man. I don't even like to speak. I like to just work. Like I don't like to do like big things and stuff like MABs. It's tough. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. But Roland got up on a chair and he was like, he gave me the chills.
Yeah, Roland's awesome. I love his personality too.
Chill. that's how I describe it too. At least in my experience with him, chill.
Yeah, you can tell he lives on the beach in California with how laid back he is.
He's a good guy.
He is. Let's do 2 more. Brannon Beliso.
Oh man, trying to think of what experience I've had with Brannon. I think of gospel when I think of him.
Gospel. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, like just religious. Like kind of like like he a preacher. Like that's like I don't know. That's when I hear him talk, it sounds like he's trying to like run a sermon or something.
All right, I can see that.
I don't think that's good or bad. I think it's just he just sounds like religious to me, or like like passion and dreams and like I don't know. That's the way I look at him, like that's the religious.
All right, last one. Let's go.
But I don't, bro. I literally have only seen him like three times in my life.
All right, Nick Dougherty. Sorry, Nick Dougherty.
The thing I would say about myself, if you're serious, you really want to answer that one?
Yeah.
I think that relatable.
I agree, and I would say that you're very. Trying to think of the word to use. You're very see-through in the fact that what you say is exactly who you are. There's no BS. You're not trying to like pull one over on people. And that's what I love. And that's the same reason I love Jotty is that both of you guys speak your mind. You don't care what people think of your opinion. You just speak the truth.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I am actually really surprised you actually went along with that. I was just doing it as a joke, but it turned out great. I love it.
Oh yeah, man. I thought that was actually fun too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was cool. Nick, I loved having you on the show, and I know we have MABS coming up this next year.
March 24th and 25th.
And who are some of the people that are speaking this year?
Cameron Herold, CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Sorry, CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Dean Graziosi, billionaire real estate developer in Arizona. Grant Cardone, biggest sales trainer in the world right now. JP Sears, amazing. Jesse Isler, who's just fucking badass. Michael Parrella, Bedros, myself, Ryan Healy. That's it.
That is a crazy lineup of speakers. And just for the people listening, MABS is probably one of the best business seminars I've ever been to in my entire life. And I've been to literally all of them. I've even going back to the days of NAPMA and EFC conventions, Super Show, been to the Disney customer service experience seminars. And I think I've gotten more usable information out of MABS than anywhere else. And one of the things that I love is there's people in the martial arts industry speaking, but that's not strictly what it is, because I think you have to look outside of our industry to see really, really successful people and discover the systems of how they're being more successful than anyone in the martial arts industry, which is absolutely awesome. And is it the Members Business Summit this year, or is it the Martial Arts Business Summit?
You know what? It's the martialartsbusinesssummit.com. Awesome. Just martialartsbusinesssummit.com.
Cool, and it's by far one of the best martial arts events there is, so go to it, guys.
Awesome, man.
Nick, thank you so much for taking time to join the show. Man, I always love talking to you, and I hope everyone else got a lot out of the conversation and was entertained at the same time. Thank you, man.
That's awesome. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, bro.
Man, I always love talking to Nick D. What I want to shift over to now is our Punch in the Face segment.
Now it's time to take a punch in the face.
And every week I like to sort of talk with you guys and talk about something that's going to help make you better as a person and also as a business owner, and at the same time sort of make you check yourself. So this week I want to talk about how to get the most out of your team that you're working with. So I've been reading, or rereading, I should say, the last couple of weeks, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I think the title of that book can be a little misleading because it's not just about getting friends. Influence is a huge part of it. But I really think it's a book on communication and how you communicate with other people and being aware of how you communicate with others. And one of my favorite things that I've read in this book, or reread in this book, is a poem that's in there from like the 1920s. It's called Father Forgets. And basically what the poem is about, without me rereading the whole thing, what the poem is about, it's about a father reflecting on his day in his son's room, watching his watching his son sleep. And as he's watching his son sleep, he starts to reflect on his interactions with his son throughout the day. And as he's reflecting, he noticed that he criticized his son a lot throughout the day, whether it was getting him to stand up with his back straight and have good posture, whether it was interrupting him while his dad was reading the newspaper, different things like that. And the dad starts to think back on all these little times when it could have been a time to help encourage his son and bring his son up, and instead he's snapping at him or criticizing him. And at the end of the poem, the dad promises that, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to act like a real father, and I'm going to do what's right to encourage you and show you love. And while the poem is about a father-son relationship, I think there's a lot of things in there that we can learn when it's time to work with our staff or even with our peers. And one of the things I want you guys to think about is, in the times that you haven't been in the leadership role and maybe you've been under someone else, do you work better under a spirit of criticism, or do you work better under a spirit of approval? And I know that seems sort of a black and white question, but think about that, and then also think back how you communicate with your staff. Do you tend to criticize them more, or do you tend to encourage them and lift them up more? And there's a quote that said, "Once I did bad and heard about it forever. Twice I did good and heard about it never." So I think human nature makes us want to point out the things that are being done wrong, and we think that that's the best way to correct it. Well, instead, let's look for a couple of things with our staff this week. First of all, look for opportunities to encourage. When you see them struggling with something, instead of criticizing them on it, encourage them to get better. Okay. Secondly, I want to encourage you guys, and I know I'm using the word encourage a whole lot in this segment, but I really want to encourage you guys to be a good finder with your staff and praise them when they do something well. Praise them when they do something good. A lot of your team members look up to you, and when you give them praise on something, I'm talking about sincere praise. I'm not talking about flattery. Flattery is totally different. Flattery is selfish and shallow. It's like cheap praise. It doesn't come from the heart, okay? But instead, give them sincere praise and think back to how you were when you first started instructing, or when you first started doing the things that they do and the responsibilities that they do for their job. You were not an expert at it right away. And that's something we have to understand and have patience with them. And again, encourage them to get better and lift them up. Okay, that's super important. And to go along with this, I have a challenge for you guys right now. So right now, challenge one is I want you to text a member of your team and just give them appreciation. Most of the times when we get a text from our boss, it's usually not something good. So I want you to text them and just tell them that you appreciate them, and then praise them on something that they've been doing well with lately at your business. Second thing, because it's important that we improve our personal relationships as well, I want you to call, not text. I want you to call a family member. It can be your spouse too, but I want you just to listen and offer love and encouragement, because I think it's so important that we make sure that we're not just calling other people or calling family members when we need something, but actually just being there for someone else and help strengthen that relationship there. Super important. Last thing I want to leave you with, cool quote: "Every man is my superior in some way. In that I learn of him." So this is a quote by Charles Schwab. Every man is superior to me in some way, in that I learn of him. So one of the things I want you guys to think of is, even though your position may be higher than your employees, I want you to think that you always have the opportunity to learn from them, and think about that quote and being humble that every person is your superior in some way. You can learn something from every person. And I know I've learned different things from my students, like how to be more patient. I've learned how to become a better communicator, because a lot of times you find yourself giving them direction on something and then it backfires because maybe you didn't explain it the right way. So look for those opportunities to learn from your team. But right now, I want you to get off this podcast. I want you to text one of your team members and just tell them that you appreciate them. Guys, I want to thank you for listening in today. I had so much fun on this podcast, and I hope that you got a whole lot out of it. And next week, we have a really cool guest coming on the show, in former UFC fighter and current entrepreneur. Next week, we have a really cool guest in former UFC fighter Tim Crater, and Tim now trains some amazing MMA fighters, but he also runs a super successful gym. He also is an owner of I Love Kickboxing, and is doing all sorts of crazy things. And his mindset is definitely something that you want to adapt and learn from. So we're happy to have him on the show next week. Make sure you remember to subscribe, leave us a rating, and we'll see you next week in the Level Up Lounge.
LevelUpMyMusic.com.
Level Up Music, the #1 music streaming service for martial arts schools. Get clean, family-friendly, motivating music mixes that your students and parents will love. It's so easy to use. All you need is a phone, tablet, or computer with an internet connection, and you're ready to start streaming. Upgrade the atmosphere in your school. Get started today.